All right, so hello, Rainier. Thank you so much for talking to us today about your experience with TrustYou. As we understand it, you're with Leonardo Hotels. So can you start out just by telling us a little bit more about your company and your role within it?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me for this interview. I'm happy to be here. Yes, I work for Leonardo Hotels. We're an international company, actually having more than 200 hotels in the world, mostly focused on Israel and Europe. We have hotels in several countries like Spain, Italy, Hungary, Israel, a lot of hotels because the original company was Fatal Hotel, or is Fatal Hotels. And the European branch is Leonardo Hotels. Yeah, but we work very close together. I'm actually responsible for our online reputation management, and I also work for the performance marketing of our chain.
So wonderful. I'm a little bit in marketing and in operations.
Exactly. I'm basically the main contact for TrustYou on the side of Leonardo Hotels. So usually every communication goes over me, and I bring the infos and the information and the tasks down to the ground level on the manager level for the hotels, basically. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you for being that middleman for us. We appreciate it. So since you are the main point of contact for TrustYou, what we were hoping to go through today was just to talk a little bit more about your experience with it, so that we can share that with some of our other TrustYou customers that might be not as familiar at this moment with everything that they can do with online reputation management. In this session, we're actually really focused on the new semantic categories that we created under public health and safety, and to talk a little bit about the cleanliness specific categories. So that's something that I know that your team is using. So since the pandemic, how have your hotels been thinking about cleanliness differently than they were before?
Yeah, this is actually basically an industry changer. This whole new situation of the pandemic, everyone is concerned about health, about safety at the hotel. So it's very important that especially an industry like the hotel industry reacts quickly on a situation that changes so abruptly and changes our daily life, basically. And especially in a hotel where a person is not at home, the person would not feel 100% safe if we don't ensure that the person feels safe. And that's why several measurements that we had to take to give the customer basically the feeling of feeling safe, feeling absolutely not at risk at any place that he's not used or she's not used to. So that's why we also use TrustYou as a system to make sure on one hand with a cleanliness badge, or on the other hand with precise reporting, make sure that our customers are satisfied, that the customers don't have this feeling of uncertainty, unsafety in our hotels. And this was a helpful tool to make sure that we have this going. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So to expand on that a little bit, you were actually looking at your guest reviews and being able to filter out who was talking about cleanliness. So are you looking differently at those keywords, or have you found anything particularly interesting from digging into those reviews a bit more?
Yes, I mean the daily life of the hotel, the daily work process of the hotel completely changed. We enabled several processes to make sure that we have safety at the hotel. For example, in the restaurants, for the breakfast, the people have to follow certain time slots in some hotels. They have to come at certain times, so we have the general load of people in the place limited or reduce the risk. We have gloves, we insist on masks in the hotels, and so on. And all these measures can, of course, have a negative or a positive impact on our customers. So we basically started at the start of the pandemic with filtered reporting of all the reviews of the whole chain. So we analyze reviews, or we filter reviews out that specifically focus on Corona or COVID-19 or any virus mentions when people feel concerned about their health. And then we take a look at these reviews. What is very apparent? What do you see immediately? What is the biggest problem right now? Which cluster, for example, has a bigger problem than another cluster in the chain? For example, this cluster might have not gone through enough procedures to ensure the safety, or there are some mistakes in the process, and this can be identified with these reviews that we can filter out this way. And we saw actually a very interesting progress. At first, most of the mentions were negative. People complained about the handling of Corona. This is normal. When you start a process, everything is not going smooth from the first moment on. But we worked hard. We managed this on a higher level and pushed it through to every hotel, which also is more difficult because we have different countries with different governmental regulations. And we usually went beyond the limitations of the government institutions and try to ensure the biggest safety and hygiene at our hotels as possible. So we saw the development that first the people complained about Corona, but by now, most of my reviews that I get with this filtered report are complimenting us basically about good, efficient Corona measurements. And this is really interesting, and also shows how we developed in this time frame of 1 or 1.5 years, how we got better in enabling this advanced hygiene progress.
So would you recommend to hotels that have taken similar measures, that they have ensured that they're using high cleanliness standards and safety standards, that if they start collecting more reviews at this point from guests, that they actually might be more positive than negative at this point?
At this point, I think so. For most of our hotels, we have positive feedback for the Corona keywords, basically. Yeah.
Wonderful. So your hotels actually took an assessment that we created around cleanliness standards. And when you pass the assessment, you're able to get a cleanliness badge. And that's something that your hotels are utilizing and promoting on your website. So what was the decision around doing that and making sure that the guests know that you have this TrustYou certified cleanliness right when they're coming to your website?
We realized pretty quickly when the pandemic started that the hygiene and the safety at the hotel is the absolute most important point for the guest. All of a sudden it changed. It's not important how much variety you have at the breakfast menu. The hygiene is the #1 priority for a hotel guest. So that's why we took these advanced measures and made sure that we have the hygiene at the hotel. And we also wanted to give the customer the feeling of safety. And the TrustYou Cleanliness badge is a good method of signaling this to the guest. When they do the booking, they immediately see there's a badge of hygiene and safety, and it's a third party. So basically someone else double check the hygiene standards and can confirm that that the hotel is a safe environment for our customers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy how things have changed. And you mentioned a year and a half. I feel like I've been so used to just saying this past year, but yeah, it's been a year and a half. We're reaching 2 years almost, and nothing's really changed. This seems to be kind of the new normal that we're going to be going through. So thank you so much for talking about your experience. I think that this will be very helpful for other hoteliers that are going through something similar. At least good reassurance that we're all in this together, and that there are steps that we can take to make sure that guests are still having a great experience.
Yes, thank you.